So this is Energy Work 101, lesson number 3. Tonight we're talking about raising energy. I'm going to share my screen so that you guys can see what I'm doing. Stream is running. It's okay. Present. Raising energy is what we're talking about. So the first lesson, we went over some of what energy is, the class expectations and all of that goodness, and also how to ground and center and shield. A little bit slightly important. The second lesson was, I only gave it like last week. I should definitely remember what the second lesson was. Spells. It was all about spells. Like, what's a spell? How's a spell work? Short-term, long-term. Mostly about paradigms for interacting with energy and thinking about it. Because if you're going to raise energy, you gotta do something with it. And the most common thing to do with energy is to put it into a spell. So, you want to do a spell. You're like, I've got my idea. You know what you want to do. You want to cause change in the world somehow or other. How do you do this? Well, you're going to need some energy. You raise energy because you don't want to be a battery. We're humans. We're not batteries. We don't exist just to power a spell. You raise energy so that you can have access to more power than one person just kind of walking around contains. So raising energy elevates the amount of energy you have, and it gives you access to greater oomph to put into your spell to make it do work harder, faster, better. What was it? Higher, faster, further? That. You also want to raise energy because the energy source that you draw from can flavor the energy you're using. If the energy aligns with your intent, it makes your spell better. Y'all are so young. My God. Four Non-Blondes album, Harder, Better, Faster, Stronger. That's a, oh, they just popped out of my head. New age, new wave, techno, the dudes with the masks. What are their names? Daft Punk. There you go. But no, higher, further, faster was the original code phrase for the first female fighter pilots. Just saying. Just putting that one out there. They were the first female fighter pilots were test pilots. Higher, further, faster. So you don't want to be a battery. Part of why you ground, center, and shield after you do a spell is to ensure that you're not still powering the spell. You don't want to be a battery. You raise energy for the same reason you don't want to be the battery that's being drained and used and having your energy and your vitality pulled into the spell continually, because eventually you will go to sleep for a while until, you stop being a battery. Sleep, by the way, is an inherently grounding state of being. So oftentimes sleep ends the connection to whatever it was you were doing. It doesn't have to, but it often does. The energetic framework. It's a philosophical and theoretical concept that helps people interact with the idea of raising energy. It's how you, on a personal level, think about and interact with energy stuff. When we talk about, we're going to raise energy. What's energy? Refer to your framework. Your framework will tell you what is energy. It will tell you how you approach energy and how you harness it and how you use it. Most of what I'm talking to you about is Western occult framework-based stuff. But I will freely admit, I practice altered states of consciousness. I meditate. I do trance work. Chakras, my bag. Prana, I'm here for it. Chi, oh yeah, hold still. Reiki, yes. I'm not a master. I only have the first Reiki attunement. I never got the other ones. A subtle etheric body. Yeah, I vibe with that too. You can mix and match and pick and choose and examine each of these frameworks for yourself to decide how do you visualize and understand and hold the concept of energy in your personal practice. And everybody's practice is just a little bit different. Everybody approaches this slightly differently. And that's pretty freaking awesome, actually. The fact that everyone can approach energy from your point of view. I'm not going to go super in depth on all the various energetic frameworks. Cardinal asks, are any of these closed to culture? I'm going to guess you're asking if they were from a closed culture. It depends. Okay, chakras, yes, and also no. Because we like to make things complex. If you come at chakras from a purely Hindu point of view, yeah. Hinduism is an initiatory religion. It's closed. Unless you've undergone initiation into that religion, you can't mess with it. But chakras from a Tibetan point of view, yeah, that's open. Or chakras from a fully westernized approach, which because yoga, which that's a yoga pose in the picture, because yoga has become, yoga has become there's a split in it. There's the Western yoga and there's Eastern yoga. And within Western yoga, there's a tradition of use of chakras. Yes. E says there are sects of chakras that are closed, but not all chakra practices are closed. Reiki is something you're initiated into, but you can find someone to teach you, so it's not culture locked, like at all. Ki or chi are concepts that arise from Eastern, so China and Japan and Asiatic Pacific Rim cultures, but they're not closed because they arise from more than one culture, and not all of those cultures are closed. And also, you can go learn Tai Chi. Tai Chi is a martial art that's also all about Chi. Tai Chi. So, and it's all about breath and moving energy. Pranas related to chakras. Elan Vital, definitely open. That's Western. Elan Vital is energy vital energy. That one dates back to like Greece. Auras and the soul. Various approaches for thinking about what is a soul. And can you use the energy of your soul in magic? I don't know. Answer that question for yourself. Kermit says, I used to be Taoist, so I still hold the key energy framework. Some of these are parts of religions, and some of them are just parts of philosophical approaches, and some of them are just, like Elan Vital is not religious. It's purely a philosophical concept for thinking about and cogitating on energy. So is the subtle etheric body. That's so Western. Ivy says, aren't chakras from all practices the same? Oh, some chakra practices have 5. Some have 7. Some have 33. Depends on the practice. 7 is common. 7 is also part of the Western chakra tradition. It's a newer chakra tradition. Also, the information on what each chakra does, how it works, how it moves, the symbols associated with it, those are all different depending on which tradition you're working within. He says there's one chakra system that has 137 chakras. Yeah, there's one conceptualization of chakras that holds that there is a chakra at every joint. You know, your spine, every vertebra has a chakra in between it and the next. There's a lot. Goomba said, does these different perspectives affect the effectiveness of energy work? Not really. It might to you, but like that's comparing apples and oranges. Which one's better? I don't know. Do you have a citrus allergy? Maybe stick with an apple. Sources for pulling energy. There's stored energy. The reason why in high ceremonial magic practices, for example, they create a tool. Most of what they're doing when they build a tool for use in further rituals is storing energy in it. It's a charged tool. It carries its own energy. But then when you use it in a ritual, it gives the energy that it's holding to the next ritual. You can also build energetic constructs to hold energy for you for later use. That's a little bit of an advanced idea, but I wanted to mention it because, I don't know, go nuts. Maybe you want to do it. Yes, Goomba. It's all down to preference. It's whatever works best for you. Because what works best for you might not work best for me. So I can't tell you which one's the best. I don't know. Experiment. Play around. Mess with all of them. I mean, and there's more. Oh God, there's so many more. Every single religion answers the question, what is your soul? What is the nature of God? What's the point of being alive? That's what a religion does. That's the questions that it answers. And part of the questions that it answers is about magic. It's about energy. What is it possible for one person to do? Okay. Charge tools, energetic constructs. Advanced-ish. But if you want to mess with it, go for it. But then there's also your allies. Now, I call an ally anything that you're going to call on or use for adding their energy to your magic. So, if you say, I'm going to make a spell and I'm going to get a jar. Okay, great. And I'm going to put in bay leaves. Okay. And rue. Ooh, nice. Good choice. Okay, it's going to smell nice. And lavender flowers. Alrighty. I don't know what you're building, buddy, but I bet it smells nice. And hematite. Okay. I mean, you can. I wouldn't, but you do you. By the way, what I'm listing is totally made up and does nothing. But each of those items that you've added to your jar is an ally to you. And you're adding it to your jar because it has energy. Everything has energy. Einstein laid it out for us. E equals mc squared. Energy is very fast matter. And matter is fairly slow energy. That's it. Everything vibrates. And that degree of vibration, that frequency that it vibrates at, is energy. It is energy. It emits energy. So when you use something in a spell, you're adding its energy to your spell. It's a form of raising energy. It's really more like being a jackdaw and collecting shiny things and putting it in a pretty spot. But, it's still magic. Your allies run from non-sentient to sentient, embodied to disembodied. So your crystals, your herbs, living plants can all be allies and can all give you energy for use in your spells and in your works. Animals and other people can also provide you with energy for your spells. People are typing. You name dropped, girl. You don't want to know how many of those books I have. He says, I don't remember where it stems from. The question was, what was the system that had 137 chakras called? I use the Western chakra system, strongly drawing from the works of Anodia Judith. Same. Yes, the Sevenfold Journey, her workbook. Priceless. I have so many of her works. Slightly embarrassed how much of a fangirl for Anodia Judith I am. Oh, you're going to use it in the self-care club? Oh, I'm so down for that. So embodied to disembodied allies. That's basically, does it have a physical body? Or does it not have a physical body? That's the whole thing. The more important scale is non-sentient to sentient. Because when you use the energy of someone or something else other than yourself in your spell, it is possible to pull so much energy from your source that you damage it. You can pull enough energy through a crystal that you break it. That you cause a flaw to appear or to be made worse in the actual physical structure of the thing. Aaliyah says, what would be an example of a disembodied source? A god, a goddess, a jinn, an ancestor spirit, elemental spirits, an entity, a ghost, all of those, and more. Some frameworks say that, like, the Fae are disembodied. I don't know how I feel about that, and I also would be real cautious. So, sentient creatures or sentient things that you want to use as an ally. So that can include all of those disembodied spirits have differing degrees of sentience. So some things, like a repeating spirit that's just a energy smear left behind, probably not super sentient. A god or a goddess? Sentient. The Fae? Definitely sentient. An elemental? Less sentient, but still aware. Because when you draw energy from your allies, you can hurt them. Therefore, the higher the intelligence and sentience of your ally, the more alive your ally is. So living plants, living animals, other people, like actual human people and spirits, you want to give back. It's a relationship. It's an ally, not a slave. Your ally it's a reciprocal relationship, because if it's not a reciprocal relationship, eventually the higher sentient allies will refuse to work with you if you keep hurting them. Word gets around. If you drain some, like a mid-level spirit, and you cause it harm, it's going to tell all the other mid-level spirits, hey, that person's a jerk. Don't work with them. Cardinal says, how come you're iffy about Fae being disembodied? I've seen some things that make me question whether or not they're disembodied or just differently bodied. So, I'm leaving a question mark on it from myself. And Kermit asks, how sentient would a spirit guide be? Often very sentient. Otherwise, how the heck are they going to guide you? Sentience is a measurement of mind. Self-awareness and awareness of others as being intelligent beings too. Like, my dogs are sentient. You know? They have a self-awareness. If you hurt them, they're like, hey! They learn, they recognize in the world of sentient beings, yeah, they're sentient. So a spirit guide would be pretty sentient. And then Sans says, how would you return energy to them? So like, if you're working, so other people, as an example, other people can be your allies in doing spell work. It's called a group ritual. Everyone puts in, everyone gets back out. So, that could either be, we're going to get together and we're going to do a prosperity ritual for everyone. So you all work together, you make the same ritual, you put in the same amount of energy, or not. Some people put in more, some people put in less. That's fine. Everybody's different. But everybody gets back out of it proportional to what they put into it. Or, you come help me with this spell, and then next week I'll help you with your spell. There's a back and forth there. You help me and then I help you. And that can also go for other spirits, disembodied spirits. You help me and then later I'll help you. And sometimes you give them energy in the form of like a plate with a little milk in it, because they can take the élan vital, the vital essence of the milk, is what, and I'm briefly touching on some aspects of worship here. This impinges on worship. It's not the same as, but it impinges. It gets close on it. Ali said, would plants be considered sentient? Some of them. It varies. Most? Okay, so I have a friend who is working on her PhD in plant pathology. Trust me, bear with me here. She was working on her PhD in plant pathology, and she was doing experiments with corn. And they discovered that if you take a corn plant in a field of corn plants and you cut one corn plant, or if it's attacked by a fungus or attacked by a pest, it releases a very specific plant hormone that all the other corn plants pick up on, and they respond to it. So it's injured, it releases the plant hormone. Everybody else responds to it and becomes more armored, I guess, against whatever the thing was. So if it's a pest, right, some like aphids, and it nibbles on the corn plant and the corn plant goes, ouch, all the other corn plants around it suddenly become bitter to aphids. So are they sentient? Not in a way that humans can really, really perceive. And yet, yeah, probably. There's a great book, The Secret Life of Plants, that I highly recommend, that talks about all of this. It's really fascinating. He says, hear me out. A nerve plant is sentient and dramatic AF. Yes, and freshly cut grass, the way freshly cut grass smells, that's the smell of grass screaming. I know, right? They communicate and they scream through plant pheromones. So when you smell it, I know. And everybody's like, it's fine. Grass needs to be mowed. Whoops. Screaming grass is one of my favorite scents. Mm-hmm. Mine too. I know, it's the worst. Oh well. Mammal life. Let's talk about visualization. I'm sorry, the chat's just like, So, visualization, usually in New Age neo-pagan circles, to say, I visualize what they're talking about. I don't even know what that image is. What the hell? Alright, what we're talking about is usually seeing something in your mind's eye, but for people who have aphantasia, they literally cannot. Which is why I want you to expand your understanding of what it means to hold a concept in your mind's eye. It's not just seeing a thing. It's all-encompassing. All the aspects of it. When we say visualize your spell, visualize the intent of your spell, that's gobbledygook language for hold the whole thing in your head. Every single effect that it will have in the world. And if you have aphantasia and you cannot picture this, you can still hold the concept of it the same way. So if for people who do not have aphantasia, if I say picture an apple, you literally picture in your head an apple and you can see it with your mind. You see it, you hold the concept in your head. For people without aphantasia, when I say picture an apple, what does your brain do? That's your version of visualization. Remember that sigils and symbols are shortcuts to holding an entire spell in your mind. That's what they're for. They exist to help you hold the whole thing without having to hold the whole thing in your head. They have symbolic representations of every step in the sigil or in the symbol you've created. You can also use rhymes, little bits of rhyming doggerel for your spell. So, and then of course I probably forget any of the little bits that I used to know. I'm not Professor Trelawney. I mean, I could be, but I'm not currently. Stares in aphantasia. I know. I'm so sorry. Well, see, if you can visualize, but it's still blurry, that's just a matter of practicing the skill until you get it sharp enough to hold an image. Everybody, when they start out, is like, an apple is a round red thing. And that's about the furthest that you get. You can sharpen your visualization skills. When I started out, it was a round red thing. Now, when I visualize an apple, I can practically smell it. Gala apples are my favorite. I know I can picture how it would feel if I bite into it, the way the flesh gives a little bit, the skin, you know, that little, when your teeth scrape on it a little bit, and at first you're like squeak, and then crunch, and then there's juice. All of that is also a part of visualization. I know, I'm going to make you guys hungry for apples again, but visualizing apples and holding the concept of an apple in your head is a great way to practice this skill. If you can hold that image in your head, if you can think of all the tiny wee details involved in an apple, you can expand that skill to holding the entirety of your spell in your head, whatever that spell might be. Which is usually why the really big, massive workings, we break those down into stages. Says, they all just kind of acted that it was a natural skill that got better with time and not practice, and that as I grew it had to get better. Yeah, that's a line of hooey. Most of the research about aphantasia is fairly recent. To be fair, it is fairly recent, but also, no, it's a it's a learned skill that you can practice. He's practicing his TikTok dance upstairs again. Surprise! You've already done energy work. Sorry, I tricked you. Yeah, E says guided meditation can help a lot. Most of them describe things for you to see. Super useful. I may have slightly tricked everybody. Lesson number 1 included instructions for how to ground, center, and shield, and so did lesson number 2. Oops, turns out that's energy work. Centering is bringing your energy body into alignment with your physical body. Your energy body, moving your energy body into alignment with your physical body. Moving energy work. Yeah, there you go. Grounding is connecting energetically to a power source. Moving energy into and out of yourself. And shielding is using energy you pulled from that connection to do work. It's a spell. Your shield is a spell. You've already done energy work. So whatever level of anxiety or trepidation you might have been feeling about, this is big and scary and it's gonna get me. No, it's not. You're fine. Lily says, is aphantasia something that can be fixed or grown out of? Not really. People, barring traumatic brain injury. No. We learned that aphantasia exists because someone who used to be able to visualize suffered a traumatic brain injury and then lost the ability to picture things in his mind's eye. And he mentioned it to a doctor who went, huh, that's a thing? And boom, alakazam, an entire word and understanding of the way some people in the world experience the world was born. So it can't really be fixed unless somebody injures your brain for you. I would not recommend. Logan says, I wonder if aphantasia is why I find guided meditation so mind-numbingly boring. Possibly. Sorry. Okay. So this is not an exercise. I'm not going to assign you to do energy work other than, ground, center, and shield. I didn't even really assign that. I just told you how to do it and then let you go forth and do it on your own. Wah, wah, ha, 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 loopholes. Because I'm not going to push you into doing anything that you don't feel like you're completely ready to go ahead and do. So this is kind of the big reveal of, haha, you've already been doing energy work. So grounding and centering brings your attention to your energy. Pay attention. That's all. The practice feeling your energy. Pay attention. Practice grounding. Practice connecting to an energy source. Switch it up. Swap it around. Maybe today you're only going to ground into the earth. You're gonna glut yourself on earth energy. Great. Tomorrow, only into the sky. Go for the sky energy. Maybe it feels differently. Does it? Maybe it does. Maybe one of them works better for you than another. Who knows? Maybe there's a water source nearby. What happens if you ground into that? You can experiment feeling other energies. Hold a rock in your hand. Can you feel the energy in it? Pro tip, yeah, you can. If you can ground, you can feel the energy. And you get better at feeling and perceiving this energy the more you practice it. Write it down. Get a journal, your book of shadows, whatever it is, and write down your little experiments. Today, I held a quartz and I meditated with it, and I feel like its energy is saying to me that... What? What is it saying? Write it down. That's the sort of stuff that goes into your book of shadows or your journal or your diary. Dear diary, today I meditated with a thyme plant and I learned that I'm allergic. I don't know, whatever it is. Why can I feel it even when I'm not grounded? You're sensitive. Some people can. I can. If I'm not grounded, I still feel the energy around me. It's fun. You can learn not to feel the energy around you by using shields. When that energy becomes obtrusive or annoying, or it's too loud or it's too much, shield. You can shield against it. The only way to get good at feeling energy is to practice it. Just like the only way to get good at visualization is to practice it. That's literally it. It's a matter of practice. So when we say that, oh, I practice energy work. Yeah, I mean it very literally. You practice it. It takes 10,000 hours of practice at anything to attain mastery. 10,000 hours playing the cello. 10,000 hours writing stories. 10,000 hours to get really good at it. So put in your time. Eventually you'll get there. You do an hour of practice every single day? Good, that's awesome. More? All right. Rocking it. Make sure that you live your life in balance, however. It shouldn't all be magic. You need other stuff to kind of level you out. Sans says, I always got headaches when trying to visualize because I kept trying to make it super detailed, like people wanted it to be. Yeah, it takes practice to get good at that. And striving for that can help, but what you really need to practice is practice good form. Practice practice well. Don't practice to the point that you collapse. An hour a month. No, maybe a little more than that. I have a question that's a bit long. But I was meditating and the crystal, kyanite, I was holding started to vibrate. Does this mean anything in regard to energy work? So I also teach the Crystals 101 course, and we just talked about kyanite earlier this week. Kyanite is a self-cleansing stone that energy goes into it and comes back out in a higher vibrational state. That means you put energy into it and it was emitting. That's what that means. Oh, I see that. Loyalite says, I feel like this is a dumb question, but what does the energy feel like? Vibration? It depends. It depends. Everybody perceives it slightly different. Some people will perceive it as a color, as a scent, as warm or cold. Some people will perceive it as a vibration. Some people will perceive it as an emotion. Everybody perceives things differently. I'm clairsentient. So when I touch things and feel the energy of it, I know stuff about it. This does, yes, mean I'm a touch clairsentient. If you hand me, like, a person's watch, I can tell you about the person who wore that watch. Because they've imprinted their energy onto that item, and I can read it, and, like those weird, like the mediums on the TV shows who are like, ah, yes, I'm getting a message from your father. Like, sort of. So I happen to be a clairsentient, which means sometimes I just know stuff. And I'm also touch sensitive. So if I pick something up and touch it, I know things about it. So I can pick up a stone and be like, this has vibrations of, elemental associations, and I can tell you about what the energy feels like because I'm touching it. And I just know. I'm not picking up, like, any overt sensation. It's just my brain goes into encyclopedia mode and then stuff comes out. Information. E wants to know, are we going to discuss Elmwood and its energy in either here or the crystals class? Maybe. Not right now. Because now I gotta do research. What's elm? I mean, I know what elm is. Is it special? And Lily wants to know where we might be able to learn more about the clair senses. I don't think we have a course that covers specifically the clairs. I had vaguely thought about teaching something, and then I was like, no, I should only teach 2 classes at a time because I don't want my own brain to explode. Yeah, apparently there was a dreams class, but that was before I even joined the server. So I don't know. So your second exercise. This one is an exercise. If you're taking this as part of your focus, please do this exercise. Think about where you get your power from. What makes you feel powerful? What makes you energized? Other than coffee. Some people feel powerful when in the mountains, others at the seashore. Forests, libraries, or sometimes even just at home in your own space. What sorts of things, activities, or places make you feel energized? Write about it. Write about what makes you feel powerful, what makes you feel energetic. You're going to turn it in via the Google Classroom. I'm going to make an assignment for you guys. I am not grading for content, only that you did it. Completion, not content. This is to help get you started thinking in terms of your practice and what makes you feel energized. Because that might be a hint or a clue for you about where you should look when it comes to, oh, I don't know what I should ground into. Oh, really? What makes you feel powerful and energetic? Try grounding into that. If libraries make you feel awesome, what happens if you ground into the energy of a library? And I'm smirking, in case you can't tell, because I know what happens when you ground into a thing that makes you feel powerful. But wow, I'm waiting for you guys to find out because it's going to be awesome. The Google Classroom code, it is in the pins. It's just down a bit. It's in the first pin that I made. Oh, it's in the first pin for this one. 25AROMY is the classroom code for this class. 25AROMY. Ground into a library. It makes you feel so good. Forests do it for me, especially pine forests. And pine forests on a mountain? Oh. What if you physically cannot go to such places that you love to ground at? You can get close. Thank you, energy. You don't have to actually travel to the place. You can adjust your energy vibration to be in tune with the place. Oh, he says, the first time I grounded in the redwood forest, I swear I had some of my first spiritual experiences in the redwoods out in California. They're so good. And of course, I always include my resources. I was drawing the stuff on, from Wikipedia was mostly me going, okay, give me vocabulary words because my creativity is lacking. But there's also a link in there to Forbes, which is talking about new to visualization. Here are 5 steps to get you started from Forbes. Because visualization is also a practice used by CEOs and Olympic athletes. They use it by visualizing giving a speech or doing whatever their sport is, doing it absolutely perfectly. They put themselves into that situation. They go through all the moves and the motions. They run through the entire speech. They do whatever it is. They visualize themselves, taking a test perfectly. Every single step from beginning to end, because it makes it more likely that when you go to do the actual thing, you'll do it right. So that's in there to show you that this is all like, weird hippie stuff, but it's also high-powered CEOs, and it was written about in Forbes. Allie says, I feel especially connected to fire. Can I ground into it? Yes, you can. Pay attention to your own personal body heat when you do that. You can kind of raise your metabolic rate and overheat yourself. Womp womp. Speaking from experience a little bit. Usually if I warn you about doing something, it's because I done did it. What if you ground into an aquarium? Do you smell like algae? Try it, find out. Most of the time, when you're grounding, you want to ground into a large energy source. But you can also connect with a small energy source. If you ground into an aquarium, I hope it's a big one, and be cautious about what energy you put into that aquarium. It's a closed system. So if you dump too much of your negative energy into a small energy source, you can overwhelm it with your negative energies. We're going to be talking about that when we start talking about charging and empowering things. And specifically, if you put negative or icky energy into a thing, you've created a cursed object. Whoops. Spoiler. I is the koi pond. The bigger the source and the more of an open system it is, the safer for the energy source and for you, because it can handle what you put into it. If you take all of your energy and you dump it into a very small crystal, you can overwhelm the crystal. Like, if you put all of your bad thoughts and your bad ideas and your bad mood in the same place chronically, that leaves a stain. Can you ground into the sun? Yes. You can ground into Mercury, Mars, Pluto. Sure, I mean, not the Pluto who's in our server, but, Pluto. Yes. Yes, there will be a recording, and you'll get to hear what I was saying when nobody could hear me. Lily says, I'm a bit confused on how you can ground into something. So grounding is energetically connecting yourself to an energy source in order to equalize your energy with that source. You're forming a circuit and cycling energy through yourself. You're both pulling in fresh energy from your source and removing stale, stagnant, or negative energy from yourself into the source. So when I say ground into, that's a shorthand for energetically connect to a source and then pull from and push into at the same time. Left ear. I'm going to be so tempted to put the T in there. Left ear. All right, lefty. The moon, planets, and sun is so far away. Does distance not matter with grounding? Distance doesn't matter with energy. Distance doesn't matter at all. It depends on your framework. Through the astral plane, everything is just as close as a thought. That's part of what your visualization is that you hold it in your mind, and that forms a connection between yourself, your mind, and the thing. You can ground while walking. Yes. Yes, you can. Aquatic Rat says, during some of my worst depressive episodes, I developed a habit of going out for a walk to a certain stream and meditating, and it would always help me become stable again. Is it possible that this was grounding? Can you ground unintentionally? I feel like the feelings I get being near natural bodies of water are very similar to what I feel when I ground. They've always been close to me. Yes. A lot of what people are doing as energy work, we do automatically. People do naturally. This is just, you're doing it on purpose now. You're doing it on command and on purpose. By bringing it under conscious control, this means you don't have to go for a walk and sit next to a body of water. You can do it sitting on your couch. Can you ground into music? Sort of. It's a smaller energy source. Energetically connecting to something that's not very big. You can use music as an energy source and pull that energy into yourself and charge yourself up. But grounding is a circuit. You're both pulling energy in and pushing energy out of yourself at the same time. Energy in and out. So you can pull energy from music, but pushing your energy into the music to complete the circuit, not the best plan. I wouldn't. Personally? What if you ground by playing music? It depends on what energy you put into the music. You can. So I used to play French horn. So music, kind of my jam. You put energy into the music while you're playing. So if you're playing a musical instrument, your energy is going into the music. And it's a group ritual of a sort. Everyone works together, and when you play together, to put energy forth in the form of music or in the form of whatever spiritual oomph you're putting in there. Grounding, oftentimes the energy that you're putting forward, that you're pushing out of yourself, is not good energy. It's stagnant. It hasn't moved in a while. It's tired. It's your bad day. It's your grump. It's your headache. It's whatever you're carrying around. You're getting rid of it. If you put that into your music, you're going to make your audience sick. Would grounding or raising energy from a concert or a loud nightclub generate more energy than my little desktop speakers? Yes, but what you're doing isn't really grounding. You're pulling energy. And because otherwise, like, wow, hang on. In a crowded nightclub, right, or a concert, most of the energy that you're pulling and that you're taking in is coming from all the people around you. So if you start dumping negative energy into that group pool of energy that everyone else is also pulling from at the same time, that's a little bit negative and has some karmic repercussions that are going to turn around and bite you in the butt. Remember that thing about how you should treat your allies with respect and give back to them? Don't give back to them your stale leftovers. Hey. And Ivy says, do you always have to push your energy into something that you pull energy from? No, you do not. Raising energy is different from grounding. Grounding is pushing and pulling at the same time. Raising energy is pulling. Only pulling. And it can result in you feeling as though you're pulling energy into yourself. You can hold more energy for a ritual or for a spell than you do when just walking around throughout your daily life. Think of yourself and your energy field as being capable of inflating like a balloon. You pull energy into yourself and don't let it flow back out again. That's pulling energy. That's raising energy. You then let the energy back out as you visualize and hold your spell in your mind. And I'm skipping way ahead to both sending and charging, because that's what this is. Once you've raised the energy, what you do with that energy. That's the spell. That's the work. You can't just raise it and walk around supercharged all the time. Eventually, the top of your head's going to blow off, metaphorically speaking. How do I push and pull at the same time? Visualization. You can tie it to your breath. As you breathe out, negative energy leaves you. As you breathe in, positive energy fills you. You can also picture it as a tree. You have roots that extend down into the ground and leaves and branches that reach up into the sky. Those leaves and those branches and those roots down all work together to help bring you nutrient and food, and you're connected to the world around you, giving and taking at the same time. So if breathing works, out with the bad, in with the good, out with the bad, in with the good. But you can also work on holding the concept of both at the same time. It's faster, more efficient. I'm all for the efficiency. Y'all are making me skip ahead to all the better stuff. Because don't worry, we will get to all the good things. We're going to hit, what do you do with energy now that you've raised it? Trust me. We're going to get to it. The next lesson is lesson number 4, and I've got a test to write. So, we're going to talk about trance, sense impressions, rituals, and sending energy. Sending it. Taylor's Anne asks, is it possible to filter someone's energy through your own body before passing it back to them, kind of like a fixed circuit, but not permanently, just doing it on purpose? Yes, that's an energetic healing technique, and make sure to cleanse yourself afterwards, otherwise you're going to make yourself sick. E says, did you say test? Yes, unfortunately. I decided there would be 2 tests, so there's going to be a test. I may dump the... Oh, he's into it. Okay. I may drop the next exercise because it's just a visualization exercise. But yes, there'll be a test. Do I get a sticker if I make an A? It's not going to be a Kahoot because I don't know what a Kahoot is. I'm old. Old. I'm old. I don't know what a Kahoot is. And yeah, Squid says, I've missed a lot this week, huh? Mm-hmm. I don't know what the format's going to be. I haven't made it up yet. It's probably going to be, like, short answer, but real simple. Oh, no. No, God. All the options are depressing and require a lot of work on my part. I don't know. Ooh, a Google form would be cool. That's smart. Thank you, E. Yeah. A self-grading Google form? What? Oh yeah, it's probably going to be that. Less work. I'm fond of that. Yes, please.